Welcome back to the show. This is KDS Reviews. And this is a recap of episode 9 of Daredevil Born Again, which is the last episode of this season. This show starts off when Matt is in the hospital. He's recovering from the gunshot wound that he took at the ball at last week's episode, where Bullseye tried to shoot Kingpin and he took the bullet. Now, he's laying down in the bed, and when someone wakes him up, Heather comes over there. And the first word he said is Heather. Wrong girl, Matt. She hears this, and she gets upset and leaves, you know. And then we switch back, we see Kingpin. You know, he's back at the mayor's office, and he's surprised that that Nat Murdock stood in front and took the bullet for him. So he says, if we get rid of these vigilantes, if we get rid of if we get rid of these vigilantes, we can get rid of Daredevil too. You know, no Matt Murdock, no Daredevil. So he sends Buck, his assistant, to go out there and get rid of him. Okay? And then he has a meeting also with the Energy Commissioner. So we don't see what he says to the Energy Commissioner, but we know there's something going on. He has the power shut off. So Buck tries to plant a bomb and goes into the room to do it. Daredevil is gone. And he's like he escaped. And then they switch back, and Matt is back at his apartment. And he's talking to somebody that helped him get out of the hospital. And lo and behold, it's the Punisher. You know, the Punisher is there. And it's like, we're going to have to take Kingpin down. And Punisher also said that when they try to get me, I'm not going to patty cake with them. I'm going to chop them up. And as they're discussing this, the corrupt cops show up at the apartment. And there's a big fighting scene goes on. Again, like I said, it's an excellent fighting scene, brutal fighting scene, especially with the Punisher. He just brutally taking these guys out. He's not knocking them out. He's killing them, stabbing them with a knife, shooting them with the guns and everything. They also find out that it was Cole, one of the corrupt cops, that actually killed Hector. Daredevil wants to kill him. And Punisher says, do it. You know you want to, Red. And then he says, no, I'm not going to do it. And then that's when they get into this argument. Him and the Punisher does about justice. And then lo and behold, somebody drops a bomb in there. They run, they jump out the window, they fall on this car outside. They get up, take themselves off. And someone comes out of the car they landed on. And lo and behold, it's Karen. His old ex-girlfriend, Karen. She says, you want to ride? And they all get in and leave. But they're still trying to figure out the death of Foggy. What did Foggy have? You know, what was he trying to do? What did they have in his file? And then they find out. They said, let's go back to our old storeroom and look up some of Foggy's files and find out what was going on. But the Punisher, though, he says, I'm not part of this Inspector Gadget stuff. I'm going to stay here and hang with myself. They find out by looking through the files that the port that Kingpin is controlling, has this old law where they could legally launder money. And that's what it was that Foggy had. And that's what it was that Vanessa hired Poindexter, a.k.a. Bullseye, to go out and kill him. You know, Frank is confronted by more at the port by more of these corrupt cops. Now, he puts up a brutal fight. I mean, a brutal fight, but he's overtaken. Meanwhile, in the city of New York, the riots just erupt. They're just going around ravaging, killing everything. And there's one kid is out there, hey, freeze, I'm just a kid. The cops shoot him. And one of the other cops said he was just a kid. And the guy pulls out a mask and covers his face up and says, nah, he was a vigilante. Meanwhile, the police commissioner, he's seeing all this mayhem going on. He tells the press secretary, I'm going to go to the governor. I'm going to Albany in the morning. And I'm going to tell them what's really going on, that Fisk has enacted martial law. He tries to get out. He asks her, are you with me? She said, no, I can't go, but I'll put a good word for him. Okay? Unbeknownst to him, it was being taped by that same commissioner. By the same councilwoman. And then when the commissioner gets inside this car, it's one of the dirty cops that's in there waiting on him. They bring him back up to Fisk. And Fisk had this long, like Al Capone scene. He was going around, walking around and talking that he demands loyalty. And anyone that isn't will be dealt with. He grabbed the commissioner by his head. Now, I couldn't believe this. This is something I was absolutely shocked by. He crushes his head and rips his face off. That was the most brutal thing I've seen Marvel even do. I was surprised, it being a Disney Plus show, that they would do that. But it is one of the most brutal scenes I've ever seen. Hey, meanwhile, after that, all that chaos is over. And after he kills him, he says, any questions? He looks around at the other cops. They know now, don't cross this guy or you're going to really pay for it. Heather also, Murdoch's girlfriend, is so upset. She joins Fisk, which I was kind of surprised by. Fisk, he blackmails all the city council. He takes them. This is weird right here. They have them all down in a cage. Down in a cage. And lo and behold, the Punisher is down in that cage with them. Now, there's a lot of chaos going on. Fisk is just so happy. He's got his champagne, him and Vanessa, and they're raising the glass to each other. But meanwhile, Matt is down in the basement and it's run out. What is it? Josie's. Yeah, Josie's restaurant. He's hiding in the back room. He says, we're going to have to deal with this. We're going to have to deal with Fisk once and for all. He said, I can't do it myself. I'm going to need a team. And he's going to say that the people are his team. And they're going to have to take down Fisk. And then the screen goes black. Now, I got a few comments about this. One thing is I'm thinking, how is him and, some bakers, candlestick makers, how are they going to take down this vigilante force that Fisk has hired, And he's got everything under control. He's got, like I said, he has martial law going on. He's ruling the city with an iron hand. And if you cross him, you're going to end up either in a cage or dead. I think Daredevil needs some help, some superhero help, not just, common man. And like Marvel always does, you can't get up and leave. There's a post-credit scene with the Punisher in a cage here. He starts talking to one of the corrupt cops. And he says, man, where are you from? Asking where he's from. He says he's from New Jersey. So he reaches out to shake his hand. When the guy reaches in, he grabs his hand like it just breaks his wrist. And then it goes black. Now, what did you think of this? What did you think of this episode? Comment down below. What did you think? This has some of the most brutal fights I've ever seen. I know I say that every week, but they really had some brutal fights in here going on, especially the Punisher. The Punisher he wasn't, like I said, he was stabbing, shooting. He was killing people left and right. Now, this is not going to come back on until probably the 1st of 2026. They're shooting next season episode right now as we speak, but it probably won't be released at least until the beginning of next year. So what did you think of this whole season? Did you like the Netflix version of Daredevil, or did you like this Disney version of Daredevil, which to me, surprisingly, was more brutal than the Netflix version was? Remember, KDS reviews are seen every Wednesday and every Sunday, and we make some commentary throughout the week about the state of Hollywood and movie making. If you like this type of content, then like, subscribe, and share. Just comment down below. Tell me what you think about this episode, this season cliffhanger of Daredevil Born Again. That's KDS Reviews, and I will see you in the next video.